Pro-life victories in election 2024. As EWTN News has reported, ballot measures in 3 states supporting life won this election cycle. In South Dakota, 59% of the voters voted against Amendment G, which would have constitutionalized a so-called right to abortion in the first trimester, with loose wording allowing for abortion in the second and third trimesters. The law there that protects babies during all 9 months of pregnancy will stay in place. A push in Nebraska to extend the current 12-week abortion limit to 24 weeks failed. Voters decided against Measure 439, which would have extended abortion until viability around 24 weeks. The current 12-week limit will remain in place. In Florida, some 57% of voters were in favor of an abortion measure, but it still failed to pass because of a law requiring 60% of voters to approve amending the Constitution before it can pass. The heartbeat law that went into effect earlier this year will remain the law of the land. Michael New, assistant professor of social research at the Bush School of Business at the Catholic University of America, has written about these pro-life victories in the National Review. He joins us now to tell us more about it. Michael, we just talked about Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota's wins. Each state's measures were different. Can you explain the strategies they each used?
Sure. Florida was unique because in Florida, supporters of legal abortion needed to get 60% of the vote to amend the state constitution. So that made it a little bit easier for pro-lifers. That said, it was a difficult battle. Supporters of legal abortion probably spent over $100 billion to get Amendment 4 passed. The game changer there was Governor Ron DeSantis. He spoke out against Amendment 4. He encouraged other Republican elected officials to speak out against it. He raised money against it. He organized teams of pro-life doctors to go around the state and let people know that the current pro-life laws in Florida do allow pregnant women to receive medical care in emergency situations. So his leadership played a big role in the pro-life victory in Florida.
Yeah, it seems like he was very hands-on and it made a difference. In your article, you laid out the millions of dollars being spent by the abortion industry to enshrine abortion into state constitutions. Earlier in our show, we mentioned that the bishops don't think they'll be able to financially compete with pro-abortionists. Does the pro-life side simply need more money, or is there more to it?
Money certainly helps. I mean, there is a good body of research showing that the side that spends the most in direct democracy campaigns tends to win. And we saw this on Tuesday. The 2 other states where pro-lifers won, Nebraska and South Dakota, we did outspend our opponents. You know, the Ricketts family was very generous to us in Nebraska. They financed pro-life efforts. And supporters of legal abortion didn't show much interest in the South Dakota ballot proposition because it only legalized abortion for the first trimester, and they thought that was too much of a compromise. So fundraising is going to be an issue, but nothing's impossible. You know, it's just something that pro-lifers have to work on. It's a new challenge for us.
Can the strategies used in Florida or Nebraska be implemented in future votes, or does the pro-life cause need to adapt for each state's unique constitutional structure?
You know, I think every state's unique. I think that we have learned from ballot propositions elsewhere. Certainly, we have sustained some losses, but I think that we have learned from what happened in Ohio and Michigan. I think our outreach efforts are better. I think our ads are better. I just think that we need to make sure we can raise enough money to run effective campaigns.
Yeah, and you wrote another article for the National Review on how abortion was not a winning strategy for Democrats. Where do you see the abortion agenda going in the Democratic Party after this election?
Well, I still think you're going to see Democrats strongly support legal abortion. Many Democratic candidates and the Democratic Party as a whole get lots of money and lots of financial resources from supporters of legal abortion. So I don't really see them moderating their position, in the future. And they've really shifted to the left. At one point, they supported the Hyde Amendment, or I should say, at one point, they went ahead and did support the Hyde Amendment. They did support limits on taxpayer funding for abortion. They, by and large, don't anymore. Kamala Harris during the campaign said she opposed conscience rights. So I still think you're going to see a Democratic Party that's very liberal, that really is very aggressive in their support for abortion rights.
Michael, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
To read about all of the ballot initiatives that passed or failed this election cycle, head over to CatholicNewsAgency.com and scroll to the bottom for an interactive map on the measures.